Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we have a kind of prediction video, I guess is the best way of saying it. We're going to predict the King of the Ring tournament here. The brackets were released in the post show of Clash at Italy, and we got some interesting matchups. It's four fatal four ways that lead into two semifinal matches to the finale being in Night of Champions. So let's talk about this each bracket side. So let's go for the top. We got Penta versus Obafemi versus Solo Sikoa versus Carmelo Hayes. This one's an interesting one because obviously the best pick here would be Obafemi, but I feel like with him still feuding with Brock Lesnar, I could see Lesnar taking him out here. Obviously, Penta being the Intercontinental Champion doesn't really need to be in this tournament. He's just kind of the name value. So that kind of leaves Solo and Carmelo Hayes. I feel like Carmelo Hayes is still feuding with Trick Williams, so it feels like probably could be used there. So I think honestly Solo might get this top spot because I feel like they're kind of still trying to have a MFTs versus Bloodlines thing going on, and Solo winning here could be it. But this is honestly the bracket that I think is just the hardest to predict because there's so many good and bad options here. Because honestly, Carmelo Hayes should be the one that gets here, or Obafemi, because of getting a young guy in there. But both of them are already in feuds that technically don't need to be elevated by being in this tournament. So I'm gonna go with Solo. Then on the bottom of the bracket, we have Dominic Mysterio versus Braun Breaker versus Trick Williams versus Damian Priest. I can see them really picking Priest here, but I don't think that's a good idea at all, especially with him going against Solo in the next one, and that being the quarterfinal match. I really, really don't like that. So if you look at the rest of it, Dominic Mysterio would honestly be the best choice here to go forward. Braun Breaker is not a bad choice. He is a tag team champion and possibly could be taken out by Seth Rollins in this or the Street Profits. At least something like that. So I can see him getting completely not in this vein. Trick Williams being the U.S. champion doesn't really need to be factored in here. Honestly, I feel like if you have a mid card title or in the women's case a major title, you shouldn't really be making it in this tournament because this is kind of just like a number one contendership type thing. So you want people that are just not even they're fresh. So I'm gonna go with Dom here. I feel like Dom would be the better person. It's another bracket where like you could honestly have a couple guys that would make sense because they're gonna probably have a pretty easy go of it. But I think Dom should win here, and then Dom over Solo to make it to the finals. I think Dom obviously is a great person to put into a feud going into SummerSlam against Roman or Cody. So I don't feel like that would be a bad choice to at least make the finals to give it a chance. So we'll go to the top of the right side of the bracket. We have Seth Rollins, Javon Evans, Tama Tonga, and Ricky Saints. Honestly, I'm not really opposed to anybody except for Tama Tonga kind of advancing here. Ricky Saints again is kind of like in a feud with Trick Williams, like they have that kind of triple thing. I really feel like they don't really need him to advance here, but he wouldn't be a bad choice. Seth Rollins could possibly be taken out by the Vision or something like that if they didn't want him to win, because honestly, the veteran presence here would be to put Seth Rollins winning. Because I feel like Seth Rollins winning it and getting to the finals could be a very good idea. Javon Evans should be the one that would be advanced, but I feel like he's still going to be in that IC title picture, so I don't see him advancing here. So my choice would be Seth Rollins. Then at the bottom of the bracket, we have Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor. Finn Balor somehow being a SmackDown star here. I don't understand that, but I guess maybe he gets traded on Monday and they just kind of put this on here. It's like a player that goes on ESPN and figures out they were traded even though he didn't know. Royce Keys has had a big push recently, so it wouldn't be a bad decision, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've really not picked any SmackDown people, so that might be part of it. Shit, I might be wrong just based off of that. Then you got LA Knight, Jey Uso. I think it needs to be LA Knight. I feel like Jey Uso has missed his window. There is no reason for him to be moving on here. Finn Balor wouldn't be a bad choice either. I wouldn't mind Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins in the quarterfinals, so I'd be good with both of them. But LA Knight is the more over superstar. He would have a decent match with Seth Rollins, which they've had matches before, so it's a little bit of a rehash, but overall, I think it wouldn't be that bad. And then we go Rollins, LA Knight in the semifinals, which I believe you should take the biggest name here and put Rollins in the finals and have Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio in Night of Champions. I think it has a potential of being a pretty decent match. The feud in front of it would be good, and it's kind of a passing torch that Dominic could possibly win the whole thing and have a huge title opportunity at SummerSlam that would automatically already put him into a bigger light than he already is. And if they go the opposite, Seth Rollins winning it, teasing a possible another match against Cody Rhodes is always a good thing. They face each other at was that Night of Champions last year where they were facing against each other? Or that was Crown Jewel. I think it was Crown Jewel. Teasing that, but also teasing Rollins versus Roman Reigns is always money for this organization. So I can definitely see them doing that. So those are my picks. I think overall, winning it at Night of Champions would probably be the best case as Dominic Mysterio. But I do think that it's a 50-50 to get to those final two. Honestly, could easily be wrong with this. This one's kind of a weird bracket. Like there's a lot of like question marks, and I kind of feel like the lack of SmackDown superstars in my making it to the next round could be wrong. I honestly, like I said, I only have Solo in there. I guess possibly, Finn Balor from SmackDown down there it might make it because Balor versus Rollins in that next round would also be fine. Then you'd have two SmackDown, two Raw, so you could kind of easily turn that. But I think the finale is still going to be two Raw stars against each other, but I could be wrong with that too. But tell me what you guys think. Tell me if you guys are excited about it. It's honestly pretty good. I think the women's side of things has some really cool matchups, but the men don't have as much like craziness other than that first bracket that has probably the most loaded four with Solo, El Femi, and Penta and Carmelo Hayes. So I guess we'll see which match happens first. I wanted to get this out before Raw, so hopefully we'll know and have some fun with this. Until next time, this has been Japan. Bye, guys.